Again. Let's now move on to the co-main event of UFC 291. Once again, went down at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. In the co-main event in the light heavyweight division, Alex Pereira defeated Jan Blachowicz by split decision. The scorecards read 29-28, 29-28 for Pereira, and Blachowicz earning his own 29-28. Omar, let's start with you. What was your take on this fight? And first, who did you have on your scorecard?
So, it was a very interesting fight, and I think I had... The first time I watched it, I had Jan winning the fight. I had him winning rounds 1 and round 2, and then I had Pereira winning round 3. On the rewatch, I could see why you gave round 2 potentially to Pereira. Jan has a really bad habit of like grappling while getting beat on, and you start getting into this whole conversation about the damage versus the grappling, because there was a lot of grappling going on from Jan's end, a lot of cage work, a lot of dropping Pereira down, working on the way up, that kind of thing, and having control, I guess, for a good portion of the round. But any chance Pereira got to land blows and land punches, like, he was taking it, and he was landing a lot of stuff too. And you could see by the end of that fight, like, Blachowicz was fucked up. Like, he was on the ground, he was exhausted, he got beat on, especially in that third round. It was a tough fight. I don't feel like it was the kind of robbery that Blachowicz. It's not the kind of robbery that I think that Blachowicz. I don't think it's the robbery that he thinks that it is. It was a close fight. I think the second round is really where the issue comes into play as to who really won that fight. And that second round is kind of a toss-up, to be honest. So I don't really hate it. I was okay with the decision, even though the first time, like I said, I had Jan winning the fight, but I knew it was a close fight, so not mad about it.
Mark, what do you think about Pereira's inaugural UFC light heavyweight bout, coming away with the W in a split decision, of course? Who did you have winning this fight?
Yeah, Alex Pereira moves up to light heavyweight and beats the man who beat Izzy. He is just consistently finding ways to top Izzy even when he's not fighting him. But yeah, this was a close fight. Unfortunately, the altitude ended up playing a fairly heavy factor in it, I think, in terms of Jan. But similar boat for me to Omar, different rounds. Live, I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and then I was not sure who I thought won the third. And on the rewatch, I was like, oh, okay, definitely Pereira, and I was fine with the decision, so glad it went that way. But yeah, early on, Jan did exactly what you imagined he could do against Alex, which is he came out, he got the takedown. Pereira did make him work for it, which was a good early sign. But then Jan gets him down, and he's on the back with a ton of time. And at that point, honestly, I'm like, all right, this is going to be done. I mean, every time Jan shot that arm through to the neck, I was like, all right, this is the one. He's going to get him. And it never was. Alex did so well to defend. He stayed incredibly calm. You can tell Glover must have put him in that spot countless times and worked through it all, because he really was more calm than I anticipated him being in that spot with a fresh Jan on his back. But he did well. He defended well. He made sure he got to see round 2 where he could try to turn things around. And then round 2 was competitive. There was not a ton of note happening until that Jan takedown. And when he got it, it kind of seemed like, all right, any chance of winning on these cards might be slipping away from Pereira. But he works back to his feet, and once he gets there is when you realize the altitude is kind of hitting Jan pretty hard, and Pereira just poured it on for like the full final minute of that round. And it even felt like he might get Jan out of there if he could find a clean enough shot, because Jan's body was just betraying him in that moment. So I thought round 2 was clearly Pereira just because of everything in that final minute. But then for me, as I said, I had it 1-1. Live, I thought it was tight, but on the rewatch, Pereira was just ahead. He was well ahead, I thought, at the time he got taken down. He was just more active. The leg kicks, the body shots, couple nice jabs. I mean, Jan had a few good shots too, but he was too gassed, and he just didn't do enough. So I thought it was pretty clear, actually, that it was 29-28 for Pereira, and I'm glad he got the W.
Yeah, I'm glad that Pereira came away with the W as well. I'm looking forward to his next bout at light heavyweight. Speaking of which, Mark, staying with you, match him up, man. Are you shooting him straight up to the title shot, or who else would you think should he face next?
It sure feels like you take the chance to put Yuri Prohaska and Alex Pereira in a cage while you have that chance.
Yes.
Like, I've been reading some things saying, oh, maybe they don't want to give it to Alex off of that performance. But, like, they just booked Ankalaev against Johnny Walker. Obviously, Jamal Hill is hurt. So I don't see where else they could even go. But when you have a chance to justifiably make that matchup, you take it. You don't hope you can find it again later, because it's going to be incredible, and you get those two in a cage as soon as you can get them in a cage and let them go at it.
Fireworks. I love it. I love that logic. Omar, what do you think? Any other ideas?
Nope. It has to be Yuri Prohaska. That's absolute violence. That's not going to be somebody who's going to try to take him down, I would imagine, for probably any of that fight. They're going to square off. They're going to go at it. It's going to be like the samurai versus, the native. The bow and arrow versus the katana. Like, I'm fucking about it. I'm here for it. So they need to make that ASAP.
I agree, man. Love it. I mean, it's just going to be dynamite. Dynamite striking in the cage. Karate versus Pereira's, I guess you can call it Muay Thai, kickboxing-esque.
Muay Thai.
Yeah, man. Oh, can't wait.
Yep.
I'm already nervous, having palpitations, just thinking about that matchup. All right, what about Jan? Mark, give us a name for Blachowicz and what you think he could be doing next at 205.
I mean, I know we've been hearing these rumblings that Alexander Rakic is finally close to returning. Doesn't seem like any triggers being pulled, so I hope there was nothing that hung him up. But it seems like his return fight could maybe just be against the same man that he got hurt against in Jan. It does make sense with Jan coming off the loss. So I think I'd go there. If not that, I also think Nikita Krylov has probably earned his shot at a rematch with as well as he's been fighting lately, and it was a while ago that he took that loss to Jan, and he's also not booked, so two solid options, I think.
Omar?
Yeah, I was going more towards the way of the winner of Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. Ankalaev never got that rematch because of that, what did it end up being, a weird draw.
Draw, yeah.
And then Johnny Walker's never had a crack at Blachowicz as well. And frankly, if he beats Ankalaev, if that actually happens, you can't really deny him a fight of that magnitude. So I'm down for that.
I figured if I get it if it's Walker, right? Maybe you're like, okay. But I figured if Ankalaev won that fight, he would get a title shot. You don't think so? He is ranked number 1.
Yeah.
Although, is he still ranked number 1? Probably, right? Pereira probably came in at 2. Now I'm curious.
They still have Jamal Hill as a champion, I think.
Oh, well, so I'm not counting Jamal Hill. I'm imagining him as being, out of commission.
Right.
So, I mean, and I guess Prohaska's won because it's not like he has the belt. So, sorry,
exactly.
My point is about number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Light heavyweight, it's a disaster, that division. We've gotten to a real messy top 5 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hill injury sucks.
Yeah.
But hey, if you can book Pereira and Yuri, then everything is all right.
Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was talking about how Jamal Hill injured his leg because he got fat. It's crazy.
His leg couldn't carry the weight.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, boys. In the heavyweight division, UFC 291,